Taran, where's the Rams fandom come from?
I'm an LA guy born and raised, and didn't had no team for most of my life, and was such a diehard fantasy football fan, and just loved the sport itself and loved the culture of gathering on Sundays, and always promised myself whoever came back, in my lifetime, I was going to go all in on, and I was glad it was the Rams.
Even though the Rams have found a way to break my heart over and over again, we're such huge SNL fans on this show, so we're so happy to have you on. So much so that anytime I put my hair in a bun on top of my head, my family calls me
That's
Mokiki. So
amazing.
your
That's
legacy, your
the
SNL
coolest.
legacy, absolutely lives on. But to get into your Rams
Amazing.
fandom, we saw that Sean McVay was going to run it back. Matthew Stafford announced at the NFL Honors that he will be back next year.
MVP
So does
Matthew
it feel
Stafford,
like
please.
Pardon me, MVP Matthew Stafford. Thank you
Thank
so
you very much.
much for clarifying that. But does it feel like the 2026 Rams have a little bit of a last dance feel to it?
Listen, we have two first-round draft picks for the first time, I think, in franchise history. And all I want is to draft a kick blocker frontline, special teams frontline, and punt returner, and then we're golden. And then we're golden. It was just a season. I mean, speaking to 2025, a season of heartbreak where the wins were like nail biters and the losses were embarrassing, honestly. Like last second heartbreak, embarrassing. So I think that there's just a few things to figure out. And yeah, we're in really good shape. We're in really good shape. And, you know, McVay and Stafford, having been a fan of them, McVay, I've watched his whole career here in LA, and he's really motivated by spite. When he's our run it back after the Super Bowl, he had nothing to prove. So there's like a laissez-faire about our team. Now there's something to prove, and I think they're going to come back really hungry.
There's always a lot of conversation about home field advantage in LA. You're there. I think, in fairness, it takes a little time to reestablish roots anytime you're new to a city. So, what's the buzz in LA overall right now for the Rams versus when they first came back?
We're taking our licks. You know what I mean? We're a new organization technically on paper, and you kind of just have to earn your stripes. And my hot take on it is that we have the best sports stadium in the world, and we have some of the best weather in the world. So of course, fans from any other city want to travel here. And not a lot of people are going to, the Northeast in wintertime. So, um, LA is a transplant city too. And not having had a team of their own for, it was like 20, 23, 24 years, something like that. There's so many transplants who live here who brought their team love with them, right? So it's understandable. And as a season ticket holder, I go to every game, but I know that there's a lot of local season ticket holder fans who love taking your money and then love, what did Stafford say? Let's snatch their souls.
Mm. That is
He
that
said
is elite
he
work.
said that to Devontae. He's like, let's go snatch their souls. Um, that's how it feels when the
So cool.
stadium, when we're kind of being outshone in our own stadium, and you see, the sad visiting team going up the escalators after we've beat them in SoFi.
Just
Have I
once
heard
in
my
my life, I want to
quarterback?
say something that cool. I want to just say,
Yes.
snatch their soul. Like in a key moment with no script in front of me, I just want to say that. Okay. All right, Taran. So
It
let's
was
have a little
no
bit of
eye
fun.
contact, and that there was some sort of like, drawing of the fingers on the towel as he did it too. Like, yeah,
Oh,
look at this
my.
maniac.
Look at
Look at
that. Look at
look at
that.
what you've invited onto your show. Just a full.
This is incredible. That's what we love this. All right. So you're part of an elite club of celebrity NFL superfans. All right. So we're going to channel a couple of your projects to play a little game here. All right. What we're going to
Fun.
do is it's a game we're calling Stumble or High Potential. Two shows, by the way, that I
Okay,
absolutely
cool.
love. All right. In honor of two of your shows. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to channel maybe some of your better impressions to tell us if these NFL teams are going to rebound or regress next season. All right. So we'll go with Kansas
Okay.
City Chiefs. All right. Brad Pitt, Chiefs superfan. Brad Pitt. Tell us if they're going to stumble or if they have high potential next season.
Listen, love the Chiefs. Love the Chiefs. Mahomes is the guy. Dynasty team, one of the best, but they're getting old. Travis has to go on tour.
Travis
It's
has
a
to
great.
go
And
on tour. That's amazing.
as soon as Fitz said Brad Pitt, I could see the eyebrows going into, doing its work.
Yeah,
And
you
yeah,
lock
just
in.
fully
There's
taking
little
over.
twerks.
Yeah. The impression isn't just a voice, it's the face, it's the all of the expressions as well. But you also have a killer Ashton Kutcher impression. Bears fan Ashton Kutcher. So will the
All right.
Bears next season? Are they going to continue this high potential, this magic they had this past season, or will the magic wear off? Are they going to stumble?
They've got high potential. Caleb Williams is it. This is one of the last seasons they'll play in actual Chicago. They've got to win it.
Oh my God. Oh,
It's
throwing
so
shade at
silly.
a stadium relocation too in that. I love this. You're on this. This is amazing. All right, last one. Despite being okay, I can't figure this one out. How you can be a massive Longhorns fan and also a Commanders fan, but that's Matthew McConaughey. So, can Matthew tell us if the Commanders are going to stumble or have high potential next season?
Commanders, Master and Commander, Longhorn passion down south, Master and Commander domination out east. Commanders are searching for their souls, for their new identity. Who are they? What do they want? They want touchdowns. They want wins. I think they got high potential. But to get high, you got to hike. And what happens on a hike? Sometimes your foot hits a rock and you stumble. That's why I think they got stumble potential. All right, all right, all right.
Oh, so good.
It's always very philosophical with Matthew McConaughey. It's never just, hey, I don't think they're going to be as good this year. It's like, let's look deep into your soul
A
and let's
thoughtful
go on a
individual.
truly, very much so. But I mean, we just got a small sneak peek into all of the great impersonations that you do, all of the great characters that you have done. Do you have a greatest of all time? One of your favorite impressions or characters that you've ever played?
Oh my gosh, what a big question.
That is a big. I'm
There's a
putting you on
character I
on the
did on
spot
Weekend
here.
Update called Jebediah Atkinson, who's always a joy to perform. That was a character that the update team and Seth Meyers had written for me, and that was just there was always something a little loose about it because in the first his first appearance on Update, like I had my own stumble, not to bring it back to promotion for my new show on NBC Friday nights at 8:30 or binge it on Peacock. Um, but yeah, there was a looseness with that, and playing, especially with Seth, was always brought me a lot of joy, and always felt it was sort of like a throwback to my early days performing live at the Groundlings here in LA. So that'll always have a special place in my heart.
So it's interesting to me, Terry, because as Caroline's mentioned, we're both massive Saturday Night Live fans. It's a huge part of both of our lives. You are also part of Mad TV, and I've had, as the older person in the room, I've had to educate Caroline a little bit on like In Living Color and the competition to that, right? Why has there never been a competitor that has been like in a world where everything's replicated? Why has no one
Yeah.
ever really been able to even attack the throne of SNL?
It's sort of the defining dynasty here for late night sketch comedy. It really sort of that late night element, especially, and I think really it all comes down to Lorne Michaels. Like if you look at all 50 seasons, the most successful long running show had just the thing that's kind of been the constant has been Lorne and his ability to surround himself with funny people, with intelligent people. But there's just nothing like it, really. Like having done both Mad and SNL, they really are completely different beasts. That live element of the show goes on at 11:30 p.m. on Saturdays. It's thrilling. It's the closest thing to doing live theater on television, and there's nothing like it. And the department heads at SNL, like really, like that's the secret too. Is no shade to every show I've worked on since, but each department head at SNL, from hair, wardrobe, props, makeup, are the best at what they do because they do it in 3.5 days. And yeah, it's a special thing, isn't it? And I think the brilliance of SNL is that each new generation, speaking to what you're saying, but with your shared fandom, each new generation kind of takes possession, like whether it's in like middle school, high school, college, you watch your cast, you watch your generation's cast, and you fall in love with it and you take ownership. And in that way, there's a lot of crossover with sports, right? Like who's your roster? Who's your all-star roster? So yeah, it's the best. I think obviously in my rambling answer, there's no one right answer, but I think to oversimplify it, it's just there's nothing else like it.
It is so true that SNL casts are kind of, landmarks in my lifetime. I think back to like my childhood SNL cast was Amy Poehler and Tina Fey and Seth Meyers doing
Yeah.
Weekend Update. And I look back at old episodes and I think, oh, I remember where I was in that time. But you were part of an elite cast on SNL. I'm sure, Fitz and I think back to your time on SNL and where we were in our lives. But you worked on a great cast on SNL. You worked on Mad TV. You've had so many projects since then. Who's the funniest person you think you've ever worked with?
I'm gonna say Fred Armisen.
Ooh.
Nobody can make me laugh like Fred Armisen, and one of the true perks of the job of my time on SNL was like sitting across from him at table read and seeing some of the brilliant stuff that kind of never made it onto the show itself, but then maybe later made it onto Portlandia or into his stand up for drummers. He just is effortless. And I remember my very first day at SNL in the writer's office, and it's so exciting, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know where you're supposed to go. And Fred's writing office was across the hall from ours, and he comes in, he goes, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm so excited you're here. Congratulations. It's huge. Now, just so you know, this fridge," and he points to the mini fridge we have in our office. He's like, "This fridge is like dedicated only to milk. So just keep it stocked with milk. We want whole milk, 2%, skim. Some people do almond, but just make sure it's always filled. Otherwise, Lauren gets furious." And that was not true.
How long did you end up buying milk? I can only imagine. That's a
yeah, exactly.
Great...
I went straight to Gristedes and just like bought them out of milk.